The following audio was recovered from the archived master reel of WQBR 1340 AM. On October 18, 1966, the station would go off air 4 minutes later.
We're going to settle this down and continue.
Continue.
That wasn't Mike Bleed.
On October 18, 1966, WQBR 1340 AM was operating as it had for nearly 12 years. The station served Point Hollow, Ohio, and surrounding river communities with late-night news, sponsor reads, municipal updates, and rotating music blocks. Nothing in its maintenance records suggests instability. The transmission logs for that evening list routine signal strength and standard modulation levels. Later analysis by acoustics experts would note that the noise floor of the recording was unnaturally low, as if the environment itself were holding its breath. 4 staff members were present during the 10:30 p.m. segment. Harold Whitaker anchored the program. Evelyn Price managed transitions and live copy. Thomas Callahan delivered regional updates. Daniel Hargrove monitored the control board from the adjacent room. The master reel from that night was archived without notation. The following segment begins at 10:41 p.m.
You're listening to WQBR 1340 AM, bringing Mason County together, one song at a time. 10:41 on a calm October night.
If you're just tuning in, the skies are clear over the river. Cool air rolling in, so don't forget a coat if you're stepping out.
Unless you're headed to Delaney's Diner. They claim their chili keeps you warm all the way through January.
That's because it's still the same batch from January.
Careful, Thomas. We need that sponsorship.
Yeah. Fair enough. In other news, city officials confirmed earlier today that the Black Ridge inspection was completed ahead of schedule.
There is no audible reaction in the room. The cadence remains natural. Papers shift across the desk. A chair moves slightly.
We'll have more on that after the break. Right now, here's the Everly Brothers.
The scheduled track fails to load. No audible fault is registered on the board. The carrier signal remains active. 2 seconds pass. 3.
Daniel?
Stand by.
Dead air. Makes me nervous.
Relax, Thomas. We've survived worse.
At 10:47 p.m., the first measurable anomaly occurs.
City officials confirmed earlier today that the bridge inspection was incomplete.
Thomas continues speaking without pause. No one acknowledges the overlap. The tonal profile matches the active studio microphone. Later, spectral analysis confirms something else. The unidentified waveform begins milliseconds before Thomas forms the final word. It is not an echo. It is a prediction. The presenters do not react. They could not have heard it. This was only the beginning. The overlap at 10:47 p.m. passes without acknowledgement. The program continues.
All right, folks. Slight hiccup there. Live radio keeps us humble. Let's reset.
Still with us, Point Hollow. We'll get that track rolling in just a moment.
Before we do, a quick reminder. If you're driving along County Route 12 near the transmission field, take it slow. The fog settles heavier out there after dark.
Carrier's clean.
2 seconds of silence, then.
Let's reset.
The phrase mirrors Harold's earlier words. No distortion, no echo tail. It sits directly in the vocal band.
Did that replay?
Negative.
The line disconnects from the music cue again.
We're going to open the phone line for a minute while Daniel checks the board. Line 2, you're on WQBR.
This is Martin. I just pulled into the Shell station off County Route 12. I need to ask you something. You folks doing maintenance tonight?
Not unless Daniel's hiding something from us.
Nothing scheduled.
There's something up there.
Something like what, Martin?
I don't know. It's big. It's perched near the upper crossbeam. Thought maybe you had a maintenance crew with a crane, but there's no truck.
Could it be a tarp or a loose panel catching the wind?
No. It moved.
Well, if it starts paying rent, we'll consider it staff.
I'm not joking. It's shifting along the metal, and the whole structure's humming.
Daniel's voice can be heard faintly from the control room. Harold does not respond.
Martin, we appreciate the call. It's probably light distortion against the beam. Steel can play tricks in headlights.
It's not the light. It's looking down.
No one speaks for 4 seconds.
Well, that's a first.
Maybe we should send him a free chili voucher.
No laughter follows. The Martin from the call was never identified. Despite being a regular name in the area, no Martin was reported at the Shell station that night, and the caller was never found to give a formal statement. At 10:56 p.m., a second measurable anomaly occurs.
Let's bring it back to the weather.
The timing differential, 187 milliseconds.
I'm not routing that.
Harold.
We're fine. Folks, sometimes atmospheric conditions around large steel structures can create resonance in AM signals. Perfectly explainable.
You hear that too.
This time, the studio reacts. Chairs shift. Paper falls.
That didn't come through the mic.
The unidentified signal appears simultaneously on both the studio feed and the monitoring channel. That should not be possible. Before we continue, remember one word from this segment. Just one. Humming. Keep it in mind, because hours later, that same word appears again, in a context none of them anticipated. At 11:02 p.m., Daniel leaves the control room. His footsteps move toward the studio door.
I'm checking the tower.
We'll hold the line.
The electrical hum beneath the broadcast rises in pitch, and for the first time, something changes in the tonal structure of the unidentified voice. It no longer mirrors, it anticipates. At 11:04 p.m., the unidentified overlap becomes more pronounced, not louder, closer.
We're going to settle this down and continue.
This time everyone hears it.
Okay. That wasn't mic bleed.
I'm not routing anything extra.
A chair shifts. Paper slides off the desk. The air inside the studio changes. The room falls unnaturally quiet. Not panic. Focus. At 11:06 p.m., the carrier signal drops. Complete silence. No static. No gradual fade. The broadcast is simply gone. The outage lasts 4 minutes and 52 seconds. When WQBR returns at 11:11 p.m., Harold's voice is controlled.
Apologies for that interruption. We experienced a brief technical fault. We're stable now.
He sounds composed, too composed. His voice lacks the natural tremor of the previous segments.
Daniel's heading to the tower to check for structural interference. We'll continue here.
Footsteps leave the building. A door closes. The studio remains live. For 90 seconds, the program regains rhythm. Weather recap, sponsor mention, a mild joke about football standings. No overlap, no anomaly. The tension begins to thin. Then the first metallic vibration enters the feed. Low, irregular. It does not sound like wind.
Harold?
We're fine.
At 11:14 p.m., Daniel's voice enters through the portable line. Wind is faint behind him.
I'm at the base. The structure's vibrating. More than it should.
Loose panel?
Metal creaks above Daniel's microphone.
No. It's higher up.
A scraping sound crosses the line, slow, deliberate. Not sliding metal, more like friction. Like something porous and heavy dragging against a violin string. The studio goes silent. The scraping stops. 5 seconds of nothing. Then, a sudden rush of displaced air, not wind. A heavy, compressed movement, followed by a sharp metallic impact. Daniel inhales sharply. The sound comes again. Different now. Rhythmic. Broad. A deep, pulsing displacement of air close to the microphone. Like fabric snapping under tension. Or something large shifting its weight. The rhythm is uneven, not mechanical. Between each pulse, the tower hum deepens. Daniel's breathing accelerates.
There's something up here.
The microphone shifts as he moves. The pulsing sound grows closer, then stops. Silence. Too complete. Then a single metallic tap above him. Not random, precise. Daniel does not speak. The sound returns. Not scraping now. A heavy rush of air, closer. So close that the microphone distorts briefly. Something passes near it. The hum in the steel intensifies, not electrical, resonant.
Daniel, confirm your position.
No answer. Then, a violent burst of metallic reverberation. The kind produced when weight suddenly shifts against structural steel. The portable line crackles. Daniel gasps. Not a scream. Shock. Then the line goes dead. The studio remains live. No one speaks. The low resonance does not stop. It carries faintly through the building itself. Under the broadcast. Under the silence. Then, a sound enters the studio microphone. Not from the tower, from inside. A brief movement of air close to the desk mic. Evelyn exhales sharply.
Tell me that was feedback.
Harold does not answer. The sound comes again. Not loud, not aggressive, just movement, as if something adjusted its position in a room that should be empty. Then, the unidentified voice returns, not overlapping, not anticipating, centered, quiet. WQBR did not return to air immediately. After the second collapse, the signal remained absent for 5 hours. According to county records, emergency services were dispatched at 11:22 p.m. after multiple listeners reported abrupt transmission failure, accompanied by unusual metallic noise. 2 separate callers told dispatch they had seen something large near the upper structure of the tower shortly before the signal cut. Neither description matched known wildlife. Police arrived at the station building at 11:39 p.m. The studio lights were on. The front door was unlocked. Inside, papers were scattered across the main desk. One chair had been pushed back abruptly. The master reel was still turning. Harold Whitaker, Evelyn Price, and Thomas Callahan were not inside. There were no signs of struggle, no blood, no indication of forced entry. At the base of the transmission tower, officers located Daniel Hargrove. He had fallen from an upper platform. The official report listed structural instability as the likely cause. No further details were released. The tower itself showed no clear mechanical failure. Shortly after 3 a.m., something unexpected occurred. WQBR resumed transmission. There was no operator inside the building. No one had restored the board. Yet the carrier wave returned. Open air, no speech, just low ambient hum. Then faintly, a rhythmic vibration, slow, measured, a scraping sound, distant. Then what investigators later classified as EVP. Fragments, unstructured. The signal continued for 11 minutes before cutting again. When police re-entered the studio at dawn, the equipment was powered down. The transmitter switch was in the off position. No mechanical explanation accounted for the 3 a.m. broadcast. 2023, Dr. Mason Reid, an audio restoration specialist and forensic acoustics consultant based in Columbus, was granted limited access to the archived master reel. Reid has worked on historical broadcast recovery and degraded law enforcement recordings. He completed a full spectral analysis of the October 18th transmission. He confirmed that the post-midnight segment was not a tape artifact. It was embedded in the original recording. He also confirmed something else. The low-frequency vibration heard before Daniel's fall matches the same frequency pattern detected beneath the 3 a.m. transmission. The waveform is consistent, repeating, structured, not random interference. Reid described it as persistent. He noted that the waveform mirrored the resting heart rate of a large organism. Local archives contain older reports from 1966 describing unusual sightings near elevated steel structures along the river corridor. Large silhouettes, movement across crossbeams. Witnesses often mentioned a sound before they saw anything, a heavy displacement of air, followed by vibration. No official link was ever established. QBR 1340 AM never resumed regular operation. The station license expired the following year. The tower was dismantled in 1972. The master reel remains in controlled storage. Before ending his report, Dr. Reid included one final note. The word humming appears in listener call transcripts filed the morning after the incident. It was the same word used on air minutes before the first collapse. Reid did not speculate. He only documented. The final frame of the digitized audio contains no voice, only vibration. Low, persistent. The same low frequency pattern is present before Daniel's fall and beneath the 3 a.m. transmission, separated by hours, identical. Reid noted one additional detail. The vibration does not drift. It stabilizes, as if it found something to lock onto. Some transmissions end when the power is cut. Others end when the signal is answered. So consider this. If no one was inside the studio at 3 a.m., who was the signal stabilizing for? If you have a theory about what happened that night, leave it in the comments. And if you want more recovered transmissions like this, follow the channel. Some recordings don't stop when the tape ends. Sometimes they're still waiting. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with more unfinished evidence.